Hi everyone, this is Leslie from Pray Night, and I'm coming to you today to continue our conversation on accessing your intuition. And I thought that today I would take it a step further. And if you haven't seen my first video yet on accessing your intuition in 3 steps, I'll put the link below. But that's the first step in trying to access your inner light by becoming present. So take a look at that. I also have a newsletter on preparing you to get in a place where you can actually feel your intuition. And it's basically getting outside of your head and just becoming present and trusting in the feelings. But take a look at that video. And today I want to take it a step further because I find that sometimes we need a tool to help us. A lot of questions come up when you're trying to figure out, well, what is my intuition? And how do I know that that's my guide? What is it telling me? So I thought today I would bring in the tarot to help us and to give you some kind of insight on, what it actually means when you're feeling your own intuition. And again, this is a personal journey. Everybody has their own unique way of feeling and judging, and there's a lot that goes behind it, but it's fun to actually play around and see what comes up for you because it's very enlightening. There's a lot of awareness that happens. And so I thought today I would pick a card, and I figured how I'd like to share this with you and do this exercise, that we could do a live exercise, is pulling one card out of various decks and showing you the difference of the card in each deck and having you interpret for yourself what that brings up in you. So if you're in a place where you can just be centered while you're watching this video. I wouldn't recommend doing these exercises if you're just sort of watching it on your phone as you're doing errands or whatever around the house. Really sit down and try to be present, and you'll see what comes up for you when we go over this. But the card that I picked today that I thought would be a fun way to start is the Death card. It's the most feared card. Anytime I pull the Death card in a reading, I always get a response, a gasp, not the Death card, along with a few other cards that are shocking to people. But I want to show you the difference that it can mean. But before we go into our exercise, I want to share with you a couple of resources that may be helpful to you when you start exploring tarot for yourself. And the first one is a book by Rachel Pollack, and it's 78 Degrees of Wisdom. And this is a fantastic book as a reference guide. And it has every meaning of every card in the tarot deck, and the original Rider-Waite tarot deck. Now, I am not, for some reason, I cannot relate with the original Rider-Waite deck. For some reason, it doesn't resonate with me. So a lot of purists will only use that deck, and I use everything but that deck. But it's just, again, it's my own personal preference. It's how I pick up the energies, what the cards speak to me. I find decks that actually speak to me. If you watch my monthly tarot deck, monthly tarot readings, I use one specific deck, the Shadowscapes tarot deck. It resonates with me. I can pick up things in it that really are true. And there are some decks that don't speak to me. And unfortunately, the original Rider-Waite does not. But this is a great book. I've used this book on numerous occasions just to get a lay of the land of the history of the tarot and how the cards were laid out and what their meanings are. Now, when you're using your intuition, it's not, when you're doing the tarot using your intuition, it's not like you're going to be memorizing the 72 meanings of the cards. It's just to give you a gist of what the cards' intentions are, okay? There's another book I want to share with you, and this is a great book when you're reading purely from intuition, and that's a lot of what I do. I do take a little bit of consideration into the meaning, but it's based on what's coming up for me intuitively. And that's the Psychic Tarot. And that's by Nancy Antonucci. And I've decided that I was going to, I've posted these materials. I added a page to my website with materials that I thought would be beneficial to you. So you can go to my website, and you're purchasing them directly from Amazon. So I just put the link to Amazon in my website. So you can just, if you're interested in these books, you can just click on the link. It'll take you right to Amazon. But I figured it's an easy way for you to find these books online if you're interested. But these are great references, totally different. One is purely the meaning of the tarot, each card. The other one is purely being intuitive about the reading. In my readings, I find that I use a mixture of both, leaning more on the intuitive side. Okay. So I picked the Death card, and I took it from 5 different decks. And if you're sitting comfortable, make sure you become present in the moment and just be here. Whatever's going on in your life, just let it go. I like to say table it. Just table it for now. It's going to be here when you're finished with this. We won't take too much of your time. But if you're trying to solve issues in your life, as we all do, at certain times we are searching more than others. You'll find that in your journey in life, or you have seen that in your life. And then other times where we got this, we're not searching. But the tarot is super helpful when you're in that searching mode of trying to figure something out in your life, answering the question why. But why from your deeper sense? Okay, so I picked the Death card. Now death, yes, it can mean death, literally, but that's on a rare occasion. And the majority of what it's talking about is transformation. You know when you say one door closes and the other one opens? That's what it's talking about here. And that's what the typical reading of when you see the Death card. But again, it depends on how you're using the cards in your deck. But we're not going to talk about that. This is more just about seeing what resonates for you when I show you each card. And you can see how different the interpretations are. Everybody's tarot deck, everybody has a different interpretation of what that symbol means. And you'll see how different it is in the 5 different decks that I've pulled from. And then finally, I thought I'd share with you and maybe have, because this is starting to be a great community, to have you help me as I'm contemplating developing my own tarot deck, and I have a couple of ideas on what the Death card, how I would draw it, or I have some drawings that I've done, and see what resonates with you and which one that resonates better with you. So I thought that could be kind of fun. All right, so the first Death card that I'm going to show you is from the Anna Kay Tarot deck. The other thing that I've done on my website is I also put all the decks that I use when I'm doing my monthly tarot readings. I put those on my website for you to purchase directly from Amazon as well. So you can just go there. I'll put the link below if you're interested in getting any of these decks for yourself. I thought, let me just make it easier for you. Okay, so the first death card that I picked was from the Anna K Tarot deck. And I'm going to hold it up to the light, and I want you to just look at it for a minute. And when you look at that, you see death. It's almost an actual interpretation of, come on. If you look at this card, see what comes up for you when you look at this card. When you look at this card alone, and that's what the thing is, when you're actually looking at a reading, there's other cards around it which will change what this card means. But right now we're just trying to get a feeling. Now, when I look at this card, the first thing is I get this like pit in my stomach when I see a figure like this of somebody with waving me on as if to say, come on, you're coming with me. The color black to me doesn't insinuate to me going to heaven. If you believe in heaven and hell, I see black, I think, oh, I'm in big trouble. Where am I going? So you can play around with looking at these cards and just jotting down. I would think to just sit by yourself and jot down what comes up for you when you see this card. You can have things come up, like memories can come up for you, situations will come up for you, but you have to be in that present state. You have to be quiet and present. And look at the card and just use your inner feelings as a guide to say, what does this make you feel? And like right away I look and I say, oh, you know, on its own, this could be a scary card. But now I'm going to show you another interpretation from my favorite Shadowscapes Tarot deck. The death card in this. Now that doesn't look scary at all, does it? And if you compare them, it's night and day, literally. This card here this is why I love the Shadowscapes Tarot deck, because to me it brings hope and optimism into whatever is changing in your life, is changing for the positive. And we have to accept change. Change is part of life, no matter what. Nothing is going to remain the same forever. It's just not life. And how boring would that be? So when you see death and looking like this, you really see the transformation. You really see it come alive, that I'm going to be on a new journey, or I'm going to grasp life in a new way. So as you can see how different they are, and the different feelings that it can evoke in you. And that's where you'll find, if you want to start using tarot for yourself, find a card or a deck that resonates with you, that makes you feel good when you're looking at the cards. I mean, that's so important, because if it doesn't resonate with you, you're not going to be able to tap into it, into the meanings, into your guides, into anything. So now I'm going to pull another deck I really like, is the Dreaming Way Tarot. And again, I said I'll have them all on my website for you to purchase directly through Amazon. I just put the links there. And this is the Dreaming Way Tarot. So again, it is similar to the Anna K Tarot deck, showing death. But as you can see, there's a different feeling that you get when you look at each card. So you can see that here. And also the person in this card is a male. You've got a female in this deck. She's looking away. Now, if you have a card next to her, that can symbolize for you what that transformation is going to affect. So there's a way you can read with the cards when you're just learning, that you can say, this is the death card and there's another card here. She's facing this. What does that actually mean? And again, it's your own interpretation. It is your own intuitive self coming up to give you what you feel and what you, from here, not from here, what it means to you. And that was the Dreaming Way Tarot. And then I have another deck. In fact, I just realized when I was pulling these cards, I didn't put this on my website, but I will. This is the Mary L. Tarot deck. This is sort of my... It's like having wonderful paintings. I don't use this deck enough. I just love every card in this Mary L. Tarot. And this is their death. This is her death. And I just love that artwork. But you can look at this in a couple of ways. I mean, you can literally look at it as, wow, this person looks like they're on their deathbed. Or you can look at it and see that it's just a shell. And it's almost like the shell is shedding. And the reason I say that is when you look at this card, you can't see the eyes. You can see that. There's no eyes. So that to me signifies it's a shell. The shell is gone. You're on a new journey now. So you can take it whichever way that resonates with you and your own truth of what you see in that card. And then the last card, I just got this deck. I'm not familiar with it at all. It was given as a gift, and I'm not attached yet to it. I usually have to work with it a bit, but I thought it was a totally different representation, so I wanted to show it to you. And this is from the Illuminated Tarot deck. And this you can see. I don't know if you can tell. But it goes based on the playing cards. If you can see, it's the 4 of Spades, and there's a skull sitting in there amongst flowers growing out of it. So if you can see how everybody's interpretation is so different for the Death card. So it's about the interpretation. And so this is good if you want to sit and use this when you're practicing your intuition, or to try to find that place within you. And you may be having a difficult time just sitting, becoming present, listening to your feelings, especially when you're so used to being in a mental mind state. And it's hard to kind of connect that, but sometimes you can get lost in a picture, and you can sit and stare at this picture and become present with it. Let everything else go away and just use this picture, or any of them, any card, and sit with it. Jot notes if you have to. What is coming up for you when you see these images? And it will tell you a lot about yourself, and things will come up for you. That's why tarot is so incredibly beneficial. So, the last thing I want to share with you is a couple of things. I thought I'll put a link if you want to give me your favorite. But I'm also contemplating designing my own deck. I'm in the contemplating stage yet. So there's a couple of ideas I have, and I like to express by facial expressions. So I'm going to show you a couple of just sketches that I've done that could represent death as well. So here is one. And what you may notice there is the eyes. The eyes. And it didn't do it justice looking in the camera, but that's all I got. And then here's another one that could be death. And then I thought on a lighter side, I found an old sketch I did that this could also be interpreted as death. It's just moving on. So as you can see, there are all kinds of ways to interpret this and what this card represents. And basically, it's transformation. And yes, on some occasions, if everything else in the reading may signify somebody is going to pass, but the majority of the time, the death card is to show you where transformation is going to happen in your life. So I hope this was helpful, this little exercise. If you have a tarot deck at home, pull out one card and just look at it and jot down what it brings up for you. And this will help you also tap into your intuition. And if you have any questions or want a personal reading from me, you know where to find me at praynight.com. Again, I've put all the decks, the tarot decks and the books. I put the links to Amazon, where you can purchase them from Amazon, right on my website. I will put the link below. This way you don't have to go finding them through searching through Amazon. The links to it on Amazon are right there. So hopefully it's helpful to you. And if you have any suggestions of other things that you're looking or wanting to know regarding intuition, I may pick some other cards or do something else, but I thought this might be a fun little way for you to see the different interpretations of a card, the death card. So hope it's helpful. Thank you again for watching, liking, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. And I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.